Hi, and welcome to Avail. My name is Robert, and on behalf of my Landlord Success team, I just wanted to thank you again for choosing our platform and wanted to be able to help you with getting started with creating your first lease on Avail. This demo is going to detail that process by which you, a landlord, can create that customizable digital lease and the steps that are necessary to get that lease active within your landlord account. Once you've added a property and specified the property type, you will then be taken into the unit view where you can now click on the Leases tab at the very top. This then takes you to the Leases page where you will see two options for creating your first lease. You can click the Start from Scratch option, which then automatically uses your property address in creating that draft lease, or you can click Upload Your Own Lease. This allows you to upload your own pre-signed lease, but keep in mind that we currently don't allow external documents to be e-signed within our system. So if you're uploading your own lease, you want to sign this before uploading it. This will allow you to upload your lease as a document from your computer, phone, or iPad, or whatever device you're using. Once you've uploaded it, you'll be prompted to start collecting rent online. Please note that this is not a required step, although we do highly recommend inviting your tenants to pay rent online for convenience and security. That said, in order to view your state's specific lease, you can click on the Start from Scratch option. Avail then produces for you a state-specific lease template that automatically includes all the required state-specific clauses, attachments, and disclosures based on your property's location. So your lease is going to have you covered. This is super helpful because it allows you to get your lease signed without having to print, scan, fax, or email back and forth with a tenant. Right away, I can see that I am able to input the lease terms. I'm going to input the start date, and then I'm going to select the appropriate end date. Clicking Next will save this information, and it's going to allow me to move forward in the lease creation process. The next step asks me to input the rent amount, when it's due, the security deposit amount, and any other fees that I'd like to add. You're also going to notice here that there is an option to click Store Bank Location underneath the rent amount. This is a legal requirement to input a separate bank account destination for collecting the security deposit. Again, this is to make sure that when collecting the security deposit, you're keeping this separate from your rent payments, as required by local law. This was also developed as part of our Local Assist tool, which we've specifically created to indicate the specific parts of your lease that are required by local law. The third step is the lease option step. Since my tenants are moving in on the 15th, I'm going to need to prorate my rent. Avail makes this super easy with our prorate rent calculator. I can then make additional necessary specifications on things like pet policy, smoking policy, or whether I want my lease to go on a month-to-month status towards the end. I can see here that I can edit an existing clause or add in my own clauses, yet this does require me to upgrade to the Landlord plan. If you do choose to add your own clause, please note that you'll have to take your time and make sure that the wording is correct, as we don't currently review those custom clauses for legal correctness. In order to access this premium feature of adding custom clauses or renter rules, you need to be on one of our paid plans. The Landlord plan starts at $9.99 a month, and this allows me to fully customize this lease with my own clauses and renter rules. I'm going to go ahead and make some specific changes to the clauses now. You can also reorder any clauses, including custom clauses or renter rules, that you've added to your lease. If you have a preferred order for how these clauses should appear, you can easily move these around by dragging and dropping them. The next section is the rules section. This is the best place to include any renter rules that you want your new tenant to abide by. Similar to the clauses section, I can drag and drop renter rules so to arrange them in a preferred order. As an example, I'm going to add a renter rule that specifies to my tenant that absolutely no visitors are to have any additional pets on the property. After I've added my custom rule and arranged those rules in my preferred order, I'm going to hit the next button, which carries me into the next section of the lease. The disclosures are the next section where I can specify any prior or present conditions affecting the habitability of the property. The next step is the attachments section. Here you will see all of the required attachments designated by the green local assist tag. You can see here that we have the mold disclosure, radon disclosure, lead paint disclosure, and other pamphlet attachments. If I want to upload my own attachment, I can, but for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next step. And then finally, the next section is the lesser information section. This will ask for my name, phone number, and email address. If I want to have a different name on the lease versus the name in the account settings, I can make this change under the company name and company phone number input and click Save. The reason you have this ability is because we have a lot of landlords who like to sign in their business or LLC name rather than using their personal name on the lease. And keep in mind, the phone number associated with your account is the phone number that gets included with this lease agreement. So if you want a different phone number included, you can input that here. Then, the next step, you can invite your tenants to electronically sign with just their name and email address. We'll send them instructions to view and sign the lease electronically. The lease also allows for direct messaging with your tenants about any questions or follow-up pertaining to the leasing process. This is super helpful because it allows you to handle any back and forth questions on the lease directly from within your Avail Landlord account. You also have the ability to track which tenants have signed so you know where it stands. Again, we'll send an email to you regarding the status of these signatures, so you'll know when it's your turn to sign. Once I feel comfortable with how this lease reads, I'm going to go ahead and click the Send for Signing button, which will send this lease to my tenants to sign. After all the tenants sign, I will be email notified that it is my turn to sign the lease. For now, I'm going to show you what this looks like on the tenant side. I'm logging into my demo tenant account to accept the invitation and sign the lease on the tenant's end. Once the tenant has signed, you'll then sign the lease, and at this point, the lease does become a legally binding agreement between you and those tenants, and it's fully enforceable. Please note that we follow the 2000 e-Sign Act, so our e-signatures are as valid as pen and paper. Again, the final version of this lease will be emailed to you and your tenant. You can then immediately request first month's rent, security deposit, and other payments all online through Avail. At this step, you can also purchase a welcome kit for your tenant. We've started offering these welcome kits as a nice way to lay a new foundation for the landlord-tenant relationship. It adds a nice touch to the entire rental process. So, when your tenant moves in, they'll receive an Avail branded welcome kit with a welcome letter from you, and this kit includes a few household items that they might need as they get settled into their new place, and it only costs you $39.95. At this step, I'm going to go ahead and click Continue, which will take me to the next step where I'll confirm the rent, deposit, and other charges as outlined in the lease agreement. Now that the lease has been signed, I can see it appears underneath the Finalize Leases section of the Leases page. Since setting lease modifications can be tedious, Avail makes it super easy to duplicate previously executed leases. Once a lease is countersigned and finalized, it will be available, like a template, as needed in the future for you to use with your other properties. To copy an existing lease, begin at the Leases tab for the property being leased, and next choose Copy a Previous Lease. If this option does not display, there are no finalized Avail digital leases on file. We also provide a move-in checklist for you and your tenants. This should help facilitate the key exchange process, as well as collecting that first month's rent, any utility transfers, and ensuring that your new tenant has renter's insurance and that's uploaded via the system. This is offered within your account as soon as you finalize the lease. Tenants have access to the same move-in, move-out checklist in their own accounts. Again, you can utilize the direct messaging tool via the lease to keep your new tenant on track with any to-do items or to answer any follow-up questions they might have pertaining to the move-in checklist and getting that completed. Couple of other things. If you currently have a lease with us and you're within 90 days of expiration, you'll find the button to Renew Lease by navigating to your Leases tab. And then on your finalized lease, you can click the three-dot button in the lower right-hand corner. From here, you'll be able to click Renew Lease. Again, you'll only see this option starting at the 90-day mark from your lease ending. When you click Renew, it's going to create a new lease document carrying over all the previous information of the current lease. It keeps the tenants' names and emails attached, and you're also able to make any edits to that lease at that point, such as changing the rent amount or adding in a clause or removing a tenant. You can always delete this draft lease once you're done viewing it. Again, we want to make managing your own rental business super easy, and we can help you to automate the different parts of this process. And don't forget, at Avail, we're here as a resource for you. If you have any questions or need help with anything, you can send an email to support@avail.co or give us a call. Our number is 312-508-3786. Thanks again for joining us. See you soon.